Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Pascaline and I am an SAP PM trainer. Some of you already know me through my short tutorials on LinkedIn. If you're new here, welcome. So on this channel, I make video content on the functional modules of SAP from beginners to advanced. If this is something you're interested in, please consider clicking the like button or the subscribe button because this is how this channel grows. So for today, I'm going to try to explain some of our confusions. Some of us make mistakes in trying to understand the difference between ERP software, SAP, SAP module, and sometimes we try to mix them up together. Now, in this video, I will try to explain the difference between these terms so you can be able to use them appropriately when next you come across them. Now, let's get started.
Hi everyone, welcome to this course. This is the first video of the course where we will cover the introduction to SAP PM module. So first we're going to be looking at an overview of SAP PM module. But before we dive straight into SAP PM, I would want us to have a quick definition and understanding between the terms SAP software, SAP module, SAP PM, and the term SAP. Okay, so over time there have been some mistakes and some confusions between individuals in understanding what SAP really is. SAP on its own is a brand name. So let's divert a little bit away from software. Of course, we are familiar with some of the brands in the market. For instance, MasterCard is a brand. And MasterCard has products like credit cards and debit cards. McDonald's is a brand. And McDonald's has products like sandwiches and hamburgers. Now, similarly, SAP is a brand, and a German brand precisely. The product for SAP is called an SAP software. The software SAP uses vary between SAP ERP, SAP CRM, SAP BI, and SAP PLM. ERP is a short term for Enterprise Resource Planning. CRM is a short term for Customer Relationship Management and Business Intelligence. All of these are softwares that SAP has developed and uses. But above all, SAP ERP is more popular as compared to the other three. This software supports and manages operations. In every business have different operations in them. Now, SAP ERP tends to support and manage these operations. For instance, in every business we could find the human resource. In every business we could find the maintenance. In every business we could find the procurement. Now, what SAP ERP does is it helps to satisfy these operations by creating different modules to help these operations to operate effectively. Now, these modules are called SAP modules and are divided in two. We have the functional modules and we have the technical modules. For the functional modules, this is where SAP PM falls under. We have other functional modules like SAP Basis, SAP Human Resource, SAP Material Management. These are SAP modules, functional modules. We also have technical modules like SAP ANA, SAP ABAP. So we can see that SAP PM is a functional module under SAP ERP software. I hope we can understand that. So now we can now go straight to SAP PM. But I want us to understand that this SAP software, they are used by companies, and not just big companies. Some small companies also make use of these softwares. But of course, these are companies that would also want to meet up with these big companies. SAP is very wonderful because it helps business operations and customer relationships to be improved. So we go back to SAP PM. What is SAP PM? It's basically an acronym for Software Application Products, Planned Maintenance. Okay, and we had previously learnt that SAP PM is an SAP module and a functional SAP module under the SAP ERP software. Now, what SAP PM does, in summary, is to help in the improvement and monitoring of maintenance activities. And so I would explain how SAP PM does this. Now, in the business world, every business has one target. Above all, that one target is to meet the unending demands of their consumers. And by so doing, they have to make sure that they are at a competitive edge in the market. But there are some certain resources that have been put in place to enable these business operations or organizations to be able to reach this target of satisfying their clients. And these resources ranges from materials to machineries to labor. These resources have to be kept in place, improved in order to improve the efficiency of the business operations. Now, SAP PM module assists with basically maintenance planning of both the resources, which includes the materials, labor, machineries. They are very key important areas. I want us to take note that they are very key important areas that have to be put in place for the smooth running of operations. And these are these areas that I have pointed, which are the resources. So I want us to quickly look at this chart. So this chart, I'm going to explain practically why SAP PM is needed. So before the insertion of a project or before the commencement of a project, there is always business discussions. In the business discussions, we are able to know what the need of the organization is. So for them to be able to make sure that they are satisfying their consumers, what are those things they need? What are the machines in this aspect? Because we're talking of plant maintenance. What are the machines that are going to be needed? What are the resources that are going to be needed for this particular aim of satisfying the customers? And that is why we have business discussions. Now, from the business discussions, we draw out projects. And with this project, of course, we need money. We need money to be able to execute this project. And then we are able to draw out a budget. With the budget, the procurement team are able to discuss with the original equipment manufacturers and are able to source for the machines. Now, at the point of budgeting, at the point of procuring, SAP PM enables us to do this. With SAP PM, we can be able to track at what procurement stage this particular procurement of the machine is. Do we already have a purchase order for it? When is the delivery time for this particular machine? We are able to track all of these using SAP in procurement. After the procurement, we have the machines on ground already installed. When these machines are coming to site, they come with technical data, operational manuals, and additional task lists. Now, the reason why we need technical data is this. With the technical data, we can be able to know the operational at what operational rate this particular machine is running at what power, how many kilowatts. These are the data that we are able to get from the data sheets supplied by the original equipment manufacturers. These same manufacturers also include operational manuals. Of course, we need to know how this machine runs, and that is why we have operational manuals. It tells us how to operate these machines. What buttons do we need to press? How do we need to control the machines? All of these are found in the operational manual. Then we have additional task lists. The reason why the OEM, the operational or original equipment manufacturer, includes a task list is so that they can be able to recommend a maintenance style for their machineries. Of course, they have no idea how our processes run. Okay, yes, they might have little idea how our processes run based on the user requirement specification that have been sent to them during the stage of project. But they might not have an in-depth knowledge of our process. But when this task list is being given to us alongside these assets, within the departments, there have to be discussions. These task lists that have been given by the OEM, does it suit the process? Of course, these assets that the particular machine that we are bringing into site is supposed to run for 24 hours. And let me say the original equipment manufacturer is advising that this particular machine be maintained every 4 weeks. But because of our process, the kind of process we have, where this particular machine has to run 24/7, during the discussion, we get to find out that maintaining this particular machine every 4 weeks will still not be enough because of how many operational hours this machine has to run. So after the discussion, we could then come to conclusion that we add extra frequencies, like apart from the 4 weekly maintenance, we could also have a 1 yearly maintenance and 8 weekly maintenance to make sure that this asset is running optimally to meet up with the production hour. Now, in doing this, SAP PM shows up as well, because for us to be able to create a maintenance schedule, a maintenance plan for this task list that had been recommended by the OEM, we make use of the SAP PM software. This software enables us to create a comprehensive maintenance plans that are going to have frequencies, titles, and task lists involved or embedded inside of it. Now, from some of the spare part lists that are also going to be supplied by the original equipment manufacturer, we are going to be able to draw out a material master data. This material master data would include all of the spare parts that will be needed for the maintenance of these assets. We would not want a situation where our assets are subjected to breakdown and we have no particular spare part for replacement, or during some of our maintenance plans like overhauling, we have no spare parts for the maintenance of these assets. Now, also SAP PM software comes in place at this stage. With this SAP PM, we can be able to create our materials, set minimum stocks and maximum stocks on the system. And also, at this point, SAP PM helps with the automating of the process. Now, what do we mean by automating of the process? Because we have created these materials on the system, they have to be some sort of prompting that when this material gets below the minimum stock that has been set on the system, they have to be an automatic reorder of this material. The main reason for having an automatic reorder of this material is to make sure that at every instance our engineers and our technicians never run out of spare parts. So If, for instance, the material that I created on SAP PM is a ball bearing, and on creation, I set my minimum stock for 5 and maximum stock for 10. It simply means that if the stock level goes down below 5, there would automatically be a reorder system, and that reorder system is trigger of our MRP. So it is called a material requisition planning, where the system automatically creates a purchase requisition, so procurement can convert that purchase requisition into a purchase order to get this material restocked immediately in the technical store. This is how SAP PM helps us to manage both materials and our maintenance plans. With SAP PM, we have opportunities of creating preventive maintenance orders like our PM02 and also our PM03, which are our scheduled maintenance. The reason why we need these maintenances are very simple. We are trying as much as possible to make sure that the possibility of having a forced deterioration is eliminated. When we have a preventive maintenance plan in place, we are trying to prevent future failure. So, we are going to be working with the gradual deterioration. We are going to be able to proactively close gaps even before they get escalated and lead to a complete breakdown of the machine. One other thing SAP PM helps us to do is maintenance cost tracking. With this beautiful software, we can be able to track our costs per day. It simply means that whatever spending I have on my maintenance budget, I can be able to go through my material document list, which is one of the transaction codes on SAP PM, to know how much was spent per day in relation to the total budget that had been given for the year. One other important thing that SAP PM does is to help us in the creation of purchase orders and purchase requisition for third-party services. Some of these third-party services could include major installations in the organization or a simple overhauling of the machines. Of course, we need to pay these third-party vendors, and we can do all of this through SAP PM. In situations where we have breakdowns, which of course we do not want to have, we are able to have a breakdown history. With SAP PM, I can be able to have a breakdown data history of all of the PM01s created on the system. And why do I need this data history? If I have a particular machine that has had series of breakdowns because of a bearing issue, of course, when we have breakdowns on the system, we create a PM01, which is a breakdown order. For me to be able to have a proper analysis of my breakdown and prevent the possibility of future breakdowns, with SAP PM, I can pull out a data history of all the PM01 orders created on the particular machine. With that, I can be able to see the reoccurring failures, the parts that we have changed more, and then provide a breakdown analysis. And also, through this breakdown analysis, we can be able to bring lasting solutions and improvements. SAP PM, SAP Plant Maintenance, is very important to the organization. But before I dive more into explaining the importance of this maintenance to organization, I would love us to ask ourselves this question. How would you react to your machines if they are not running at full capacity? Of course, it is a red flag because, as earlier said, one of the business goals is to satisfy the unending needs of your consumers. And if your machines are not running at full capacity, the possibility of meeting this goal and keeping up at competitive edge in the market is going to be zero to none. Now, if I have a well-established maintenance plan in place in my organization, there is every possibility of eliminating forced deterioration. When we talk about forced deterioration, it simply means that a particular machine over time had displayed sign of failure, but there have been no prompting by the engineers or technicians to go for replacement. And so leaving it for a very long time, the machine eventually breaks down. So what's supposed to have been corrected using preventive maintenance and scheduled maintenance in place was not corrected, and so eventually these machines failed. So if I have a proper plant maintenance in my organization, I am able to eliminate the possibility of having a forced deterioration on my machine. It also eliminates firefighting. Nobody likes firefighting in an organization. When we talk about firefighting, it means that we have so much of PM01, which are breakdown orders, more than preventive maintenance PM02 orders and PM03 orders. And of course, we know that when we have so much of firefighting, it reduces our productivity to zero. It also brings about an improvement of our maintenance costs. And how does it do this? Because we have a strong maintenance practice already in place, it is going to help us to reduce the possibility of failures. Now you know that whenever you have failures, there has to be a criminal component. Not all the time, but majority at times there is always a criminal component. And so when we have a strong maintenance practice, the possibility of these machines breaking down is reduced, and so we do not need to always spend so much in replacing these failed parts. It also improves productivity because we do no longer have firefighting and we have eliminated forced deterioration. It greatly improves our productivity. Safety gaps are also reduced. For our maintenance plans, we have task lists, and the task list, most of the tasks on the task list would draw our attention into covering zero access gaps. But when we do not have these proper maintenance plans in place, the possibility of identifying these safety gaps is also reduced. Decrease in downtime of machine. Because we no longer have firefighting, because we no longer have forced deterioration, because our safety gaps are closed even before it is escalated, the possibility of having a downtime of our machine is decreased. Proper tracking of maintenance data. I like to see SAP PM software as a reservoir. It reserves data far back many years. It reserves data pending to down to the work orders that had been created, the materials that had been taken, material collection history, order closure history. It has a proper tracking of all of our data for maintenance. And this data is very important because if we are going to carry out a project on optimizing our maintenance system, we are definitely going to be making use of these maintenance data. Also, it improves leadership at the shop floor. So we can now see that a proper implementation of the plant maintenance would increase our productivity from 0 to 100. But if we do not have this implementation at all, it allows our productivity to remain at point 0. That was all about the lecture. Let's meet in the next one.